Alright, everybody, here we go. The May 1989, the first weekend of the summer movie season. And of course, this is when you get all the big blockbusters coming out. I mean, look at what we're getting this year, in 2022. What's the first big blockbuster that's going to open up on May 6, 2022? Of course, it's going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which looks incredible, by the way. But what about 32 years ago? What was the first big movie that came out in May of 1989? What was the big movie that kicked off the summer movie season? That movie was... Yeah, definitely a different movie than Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This was back when the summer movie season actually started on Memorial Day weekend, and it wasn't until like the mid 90s, late 90s when someone finally decided, let's move the summer movie season up to the start of May. So you still had a couple of weeks of like mediocre movies, and case in point here, Listen to Me, which is the biggest new wide release because it's got Kirk Cameron in it. Kirk Cameron was a successful actor at the time on Growing Pains. He was a hot commodity. Everyone thought he was going to be the next big star. Well, he was the next big star, but yeah, this movie comes out of the popularity of Kirk Cameron's time on Growing Pains. You also have Jamie Gertz, a young rising actor at the time, Roy Scheider from Jaws, and this movie was pretty forgettable. Like, honestly, this movie was really forgettable. In fact, when you really look at it, it seemed like the biggest thing. It seemed like this movie didn't know what it wanted to be. It wanted to be anything other than a generic, uplifting coming-of-age story. In fact, I saw here that the movie was actually the marketing was going to focus on Kirk Cameron because he was at the height of his popularity at the time. However, the producer, Jimmy Weintraub, overrode that and said, let's focus on the fact that the movie is dealing with the debate on abortion. And it just it just didn't do anything. Nobody really wanted to go see it. It's funny because I think Roe vs. Wade with Holly Hunter came out around the same time as this did, and that was on NBC, so people could just go and watch that on TV for free instead of having to go out and see this. And it was pretty clear that this movie was not going to make any money whatsoever. Maybe if the movie actually was good, or maybe the movie wasn't so hokey, maybe they would have had stuff in here, but you saw the trailer for this. It looks pretty bad. Kirk Cameron has like a bad accent in this movie from Oklahoma. He sounds like he's supposed to be like from Oklahoma, and he's got this really terrible accent in this movie. Yeah, it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie whatsoever. And this was not a good weekend for movies because there was only one other movie that came out that weekend, and that was Getting It Right. From the director of Grease and The Blue Lagoon, who would later go on to do movies such as Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, White Fang, also did Flight of the Navigator, Big Top Pee-wee. Randall Kleiser, this is a pretty decent director, and this is a pretty decent movie from the little bit that I've seen of it. You got Jesse Birdsall, Jane Horrocks, Helena Bonham Carter, John Gielgud, Lynn Redgrave, Peter Cook. It's a little Britishy, but it works for what it is. It's nothing too special, but I enjoy it. I think it's an enjoyable movie. I think it did a better job of doing this kind of a story than Loverboy the previous week did. So, again, I can't really say a whole lot more on it. I've only seen like little bits and pieces of it before, and I've seen it looks pretty good. So, I enjoy it for what it is. So I'll just leave it with that. So, that's really about it. There's nothing about this weekend that's all that interesting, unfortunately. And looking ahead to next week, there's two movies once again, but at the same time, unlike this week, those two actually have somewhat of a following to them. One of them's got Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, and the other one has Jeff Goldblum in it. And we'll get to those ones when we get to that on the next time we do this on Sunday. But until then, that's it for this week. Thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the playlist to see previous episodes and check out the previous episode at the top of the corner there. And I'll see you guys on Sunday for the latest new episode. And if you watch the movie stopped, I'll have a new episode tomorrow for that as well. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.